Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Masatoshi John Shoji. Thank you for asking a couple of questions about Japan, my country, and her culture. Seven questions that you asked me. I will try to answer as much as possible. First, is it true that in Japan there are different ways of fellowship communication? Answer is yes. Of As human, of course, we have fellowship and communication, but the way expression is slightly different because long time history, Japanese culture doesn't like physical touch, like shaking hand or kissing each other or hugging each other. So instead of that, you saw maybe TV, people are just like bowing the head and hello, nice to meet you. That's the way. And second, is it true that in Japan people watch only anime cartoons? That is not true. Of course, every country children likes anime cartoons, but we have a lot of other documentaries, TV, news. So don't worry. If you come to Japan, you can see not only anime cartoons, but you can see movies, TV, movies, other dramas, and whatever you want to see. Don't worry about that. Third, does Japan suffer from earthquakes? Is it noticeable? Answer is unfortunately it does. Well, as you see, recent we have multiple of earthquakes. So, it's really difficult to count. How often do we have? But usually, earthquake is not like that strong and not much. It doesn't cause not much damages to buildings and transportations or other types of work of society. In fact, because we have long time history about having earthquakes, so buildings usually have a really strong steel frames. I remember when I first visited Canada and I saw this construction sites, like there was like a tall building, I think it's condominiums were built. And I was really surprised how thin those pillars, steel pillars are so thin, I couldn't believe it. So usually, in Japan, because we have a lot of history surviving with earthquakes, so pretty much every buildings are quite earthquake proofs. Like if you see that the last time that we had huge earthquakes, most houses were not destroyed by earthquake, but by tsunami. Let's go to the fourth question. Is it true that in 100 years, volcano will awaken? I don't know which volcano you are talking about, but maybe Mount Fuji or some other. Yeah, in fact, there are many volcanoes still alive in. Well, this sounds scary, but we are living together with it. And there is actually some scholars says like Mount Fuji, the most famous mountain in Japan. There will be some time that will be elapsed, but we don't know. Five, is it true that Japanese people worship Fuji and call it Fujisan? Let me clarify. First, sun, sometimes usually we say Mr. Shoji is like, for example, Shoji-san, or maybe Ivanov, Mr. Ivanov, like Ivanov-san. But san means, in this case, is Mr. or sometimes Mrs. or Miss. But Fuji-san, if you call it Fuji-san, means Mount Fuji. So Fuji-san doesn't mean like Mr. Fuji. It simply means Mount Fuji. And the second, yes, some people worship Fuji, Mount Fuji, as some kind of god, because Japanese native traditional like belief is kind of animism, or like many deities in everywhere. So some people believe that like Mount Fuji, like such a beautiful big mountain, has some kind of spirit there, or beautiful fountain, and there will be some kind of spirit there. That is more like old Slavic tradition, like ancient Slavic people, like ancestor Russians believe, like god Perun or like a goddess Mokosh. It's something similar. I think it came from because in front of the nature, we are so powerless. In front of like a greatness of nature, we are just so small and useless. So that's why people consider Mount Fuji is one of kind of like a deity or spirit within. 6. Is that true that in some cafes and restaurants, waiters wear cleaning lady or porter's uniform? Yes, but it's really special one. It's really, I don't know, we call costume play, but some cafe, if you go there, you can see all waiters wear like 19th century British butlers attire, or waitresses were like a 19th century British maid. That is true. But I've ever been to, and I'm not interested at all. And I think most people are not interested. 7. The last question. Is it true that in Japan, people often prepare and eat sushi? Actually, I think it's no. Well, everybody likes sushi in Japan. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. Most of people in Japan love sushi. But sushi is type of festive food, not like an ordinary everyday type of food. So, like, I would say maybe everybody not everybody, but most of Russian people love perimeni, for example, perimeni. But do you eat perimeni every day? No, I don't think so. It takes time, and takes time to cook. So, and the sushi is there. Of course, there are variety of sushi, but the most elaborated type of sushi you cannot cook in home. You have to go to eat in a special restaurant. So that's why I wouldn't say often. Maybe sometime. Okay, this is my answer to 7 questions. I hope that will help you. And if you have any questions, well, I can answer later. So please let me know. Bye bye.